We've done things that we've never imagined doing and done before. We've had a good time. It's been hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it shows.
It's been hard work.
Hidden in the dark parts of history are scenes that were never meant to be talked about. In Yellowstone, 1883, secrets were buried under violence, power fights, and truths people wanted to forget. What really happened behind closed doors? Which scenes were too disturbing for people to watch? Some say these moments showed the darkest parts of survival, loyalty, and revenge. Others believe they were hidden to protect powerful people and old secrets. But secrets never stay silent forever. What happens when secrets finally come out? Join us in this video as we reveal the details. The Forbidden Scenes from Yellowstone. The first episode begins with a scene that many viewers described as harsh, painful, and hard to watch. Very early in the episode, a young Native American girl named Tiona Rainwater is shown inside a Catholic boarding school. The moment starts as what seems like a normal classroom lesson, but it quickly turns into something much darker. Her teacher, Sister Mary, calls on her and asks her to name the 9 ingredients used to make soap. Tiona answers carefully at first. She says, oil, lye, and water. The nun then presses her for more detail and asks what kind of oil. Tiona responds, any kind. When she cannot remember the rest of the ingredients, the situation changes. Instead of correcting her calmly, Sister Mary begins to beat her with a ruler. The punishment is not mild. It is forceful and humiliating. The violence in the scene shocks many viewers because it happens so suddenly and without mercy. The nun also uses cruel language toward Tiona. At one point, she refers to her as an animal. This insult makes it clear that the mistreatment is not only physical, but also racist and degrading. The scene shows that Tiona is not being treated as a child who made a mistake, but as someone the school already sees as less than human. The moment becomes even more intense when Tiona decides she will not take the beating quietly. She suddenly jumps from her chair and begins to fight back. She throws punches at the nun. This action surprises both the characters in the room and the audience watching at home. Many viewers said this part was especially shocking. While it is easy to feel sympathy for Tiona, the sudden violence still caught people off guard. After the episode aired, many viewers went online to share their reactions. A number of them said the boarding school scene should have come with a trigger warning. They explained that they were not prepared for how brutal it would be. Some viewers said they felt disturbed and uncomfortable. One person even said the scene was the kind of content that makes them avoid certain shows. These reactions show just how strong the emotional impact of the scene was. At the same time, not everyone felt the scene went too far. Some viewers defended it. They argued that the violence was necessary to show the truth about what Native American children faced in such schools. They said it was painful to watch, but it was also important. According to these viewers, the show was trying to tell a real story about history, and real history is not always gentle or easy to see. The events shown in the episode are connected to real policies from the late 19th and early 20th centuries. During that time, the United States government funded a program known as the Federal Indian Boarding School Initiative. The purpose of this program was to force Native American children to leave their families and attend schools far from home. The goal was to make them adopt American culture and abandon their own traditions and languages. Historical records show that many children in these schools suffered mistreatment, harsh discipline, and deep emotional harm. The scene with Tiona reflects these documented experiences. The series was created by Taylor Sheridan, who is known for telling stories that focus on the struggles of indigenous communities. In projects such as Wind River and other stories set in the Yellowstone universe, he has often shown the pain caused by displacement, racism, and violence. His work does not hide the darker parts of history. Instead, it brings them forward, even when that makes viewers uncomfortable. In the case of this scene, the boarding school appears to be meant to disturb. It forces the audience to face a painful chapter of American history. While some viewers felt the scene was too violent, others believed it was honest and necessary. The strong reactions on both sides show that the episode succeeded in starting a conversation. By showing the mistreated directly, the series makes it clear that these events were real and serious. The discomfort many viewers felt may have been exactly the point. Some viewers believe the boarding school scene was never meant to be easy viewing or casual discussion. The harsh violence and racist language suggest it was designed to confront a painful history that had long been ignored. Given Taylor Sheridan's history of tackling difficult subjects, the scene may have been intended to break silence rather than create comfort. How does the pain and history of past conflict lead into a tense scene between settlers and Native Americans? Stay tuned for more. The tense meeting, land, trust, and the memory of the past. The scene comes from 1923, a show that tells stories about land, family history, and the pain that comes from long conflicts between different groups of people. In this part of the story, viewers see a meeting between settlers and Native Americans. The meeting is slow, heavy with tension, and filled with words that carry deep meaning. The people in the scene do not fully trust each other. Trust is something that must be slowly earned, not something that is given quickly like a simple greeting. At the start of the scene, one character asks about Native Americans and wonders why they are not staying on the reservation. This question shows curiosity, but also shows distance between the groups. The response from the other character is simple but firm. He says he does not trust anyone until trust is earned. This statement is important because it shows how past experiences can shape how people behave in the present. The land around them is quiet, but the tension between people feels heavy, like a storm that has not yet started to rain. The conversation slowly moves toward land history. One Native man speaks about the land in a calm but emotional way. He says that the land once belonged to his people. He does not shout this. He does not fight for it. He simply states it as a fact, like describing the weather. He knows that the land was taken from his people in the past. Even though he feels this loss, he does not come to fight or demand the land back. Instead, he comes to ask for something much more personal and emotional. The man explains that his father was born on this land. This land was where his father liked to rest when he was alive. The man wants to bury his father here. He wants his father to rest peacefully in a place that has meaning. Burial is not just about putting a body in the ground. In his culture and belief system, burial is about respect, memory, and spiritual peace. He explains his fear in detail. He worries that if his father is buried somewhere else, the grave might be disturbed in the future. Land ownership changes over time. Land can be sold to banks. New people can come and buy land. When this happens, graves can be damaged. Sacred items can be stolen. Bones can be scattered. This thought brings emotional pain because it means a person can lose peace even after death. The man wants his father to have peace that will last forever, not peace that can disappear when land ownership changes. The landowner listens carefully. After some thought, he agrees to allow the burial. This moment is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet. It feels like small hope growing in a difficult world. The native man asks for the burial to be in a hidden place where outsiders will not easily find it. This request shows how deeply he wants to protect his father's rest. The scene shows that even in a world filled with conflict, small acts of understanding can still happen. The scene also shows survival struggles. The native group traveled for 8 days from the reservation. This long journey shows how difficult travel was during that time. both people and horses look hungry. Winter is very harsh. One character even describes winter as punishment rather than just cold weather. After the tense discussion about land, trust, and burial rights, can small acts of kindness and survival help bridge the gap between the two groups as they face hunger and a harsh winter? Let's delve deeper. Hunger, mercy, survival, and small moments of kindness. The second part of the scene continues to show survival struggles and emotional connection between different groups of people. The native group is shown traveling through hard weather conditions. Their journey from the reservation took 8 long days. 8 days of travel means long nights, cold air, tired muscles, and constant hunger. The horses also appear weak and hungry. Animals and humans both depend on each other for survival during this difficult winter time. The winter season is described as very hard. One character says this winter feels like punishment. This is not just about weather. It is about history, struggle, and emotional pain. Winter in this story represents hardship in life. It represents the way communities sometimes suffer because of land loss, poverty, and displacement. The characters do not speak loudly about these ideas. Instead, they speak in simple sentences that carry heavy emotional meaning. The native man continues to speak about hunger. He says he is used to being hungry. This statement is very powerful because it shows long-term suffering. Hunger is not new to him. Hunger is something he has lived with for a long time. This reflects historical struggles faced by many indigenous communities who lost access to traditional land and food sources. Even though the conversation begins with tension, it slowly changes into small kindness. The settlers allow the native group's horses to graze on their land. This is important because horses need food to survive long journeys. Allowing horses to graze is not a large political act. It is a small human act of kindness. But small kindness can sometimes mean survival. The settlers also offer a steer, which is a type of beef animal, as food for the traveling family. Sharing food during hard times is a strong symbol of mercy and respect. Food represents life. Sharing food means recognizing that other people are also suffering. The settlers do not erase past conflicts, but they show that compassion can exist even in painful historical situations. The scene ends with a lighter emotional tone. The native group prepares to continue their journey. The settlers push cattle away and help prepare food for sharing. The mood is still serious, but there is a small feeling of peace. This ending shows that history is not only about violence and conflict. It is also about survival, understanding, and moments of human kindness that appear even in difficult times. Overall, this story from 1923 shows how history affects families, land ownership, culture, and survival. As the story moves away from romance and social conflict, what darker and forbidden scene will emerge next? And how will the new scene reveal secrets that were never meant to be seen? Let's learn more. Love, meeting, adventure, and the weight of social expectations. In this scene, the focus is on Spencer Dutton and his emotional relationship with a woman named Alexandra. Their story begins in a place filled with soft piano music, people talking quietly, and background party sounds. Everything feels calm on the surface, but under that calm feeling, emotions are slowly building like clouds before rain. Spencer and Alexandra meet because Alexandra's friends sent her to speak to him. They were a little nervous about meeting him because Spencer had a strong reputation. Their first conversation is playful and light. They talk about nationality. Alexandra asks why Americans are always surprised to meet Americans outside America. Spencer jokes that Americans are known for being loud and less formal. Alexandra laughs and plays along. This shows early friendship and attraction. Their conversation feels natural, like two people slowly getting comfortable with each other while holding glasses of champagne. They drink champagne only because they are celebrating this meeting. Champagne is usually used for happy moments, not everyday life. This makes the moment feel special. Spencer's reputation becomes part of the conversation. Alexandra has heard stories about him. He is known as a war hero and a hunter of dangerous animals. People say he terminated man-eating animals in places like Kalahari, Sabi, and Tsavo. Spencer does not act proud of these stories. Instead, he says some of these stories are exaggerated. He even mentions that he was very young when some of those events happened. This shows that fame can sometimes create stories that are bigger than real life. Spencer seems humble and does not like romanticizing violence. Alexandra is fascinated by danger and adventure. She says she likes the romantic idea of adventure. She admits that she does not always believe stories about heroism, but she likes believing them when they feel exciting. Spencer does not agree with romanticizing attacking animals. He says there is no romance in attacking. But he later explains something deeper. He says he hunts because facing danger makes him feel alive. This is important because it shows that Spencer connects life and danger together emotionally. He feels strongest when he is facing survival challenges. The conversation slowly becomes more romantic. Spencer and Alexandra start joking about future life together. They talk about nicknames. Alexandra allows Spencer to call her Alex because her full name is long. She even jokes that if he ever needs to warn her about danger, he should just shout "lion" instead of saying her full name. This playful conversation shows comfort between them. Comfort is important because it shows emotional trust growing slowly, like a plant growing roots in soft soil. Then their relationship becomes more serious. Alexandra jokes that Spencer looked smarter at the bar than he does when he struggles to ask simple questions. She jokes that she does not think he would be brave enough to propose marriage. Spencer surprises her by proposing immediately. He does not make a long speech. He simply says he wants to marry her. Alexandra laughs, but does not immediately accept. She says relationships should grow slowly before marriage. But Spencer is very direct. He treats the proposal like both love and emotional demand. Eventually, Alexandra accepts. This decision is very important because she is choosing love over social expectations. Alexandra knows her family and society may not approve of her choice. She is from London society, which has strict rules about behavior and social reputation. Some people warn her that her family may turn against her. But Alexandra says she only cares about building her own future family. What happens when love, honor, and violence collide? And how will this chapter reveal the consequences of those forbidden emotions and dangerous choices? Let's find out. Violence, honor, authority, and separation by law and distance. The story then moves into a darker and more dangerous emotional space. Spencer and Alexandra travel together by car while talking about life and danger. Alexandra admits something emotional. She says that when she looked at death before, she felt only horror, not excitement. Spencer responds by saying he never promised adventure would be fun. He only promised that she would feel alive. This shows emotional honesty between them. Alexandra does not want to feel fear forever. Spencer agrees because he also wants emotional peace. They talk about future dreams. Spencer admits something very emotional. He says that deep inside, he feels it was wrong to bring Alexandra into his dangerous life. He mentions events like elephants, lions, and shipwrecks as warnings from the universe. He jokes that maybe the universe is telling him to send her back to safety. But he also admits he is too selfish to let her go. His dream is that the universe is wrong and that he can keep her with him forever. Alexandra responds strongly. She says she will follow him wherever he goes. She says they are now one family. She uses poetic language, saying that when the sun hits her face, he is her shadow, and when the sun hits his back, she is his shadow. This symbolizes emotional unity. They promise loyalty even in danger. Later, social conflict becomes physical conflict. Another man named Arthur feels dishonored by Spencer's relationship with Alexandra. Arthur challenges Spencer to a duel. The duel starts because Arthur believes his family honor has been damaged. He insults Spencer and calls him disrespectful. Crowds gather because duels were often public displays of honor during that time period. The duel becomes violent. Spencer tries to avoid fighting because he does not enjoy unnecessary violence. However, Arthur refuses to surrender. During the fight, Arthur pulls a pistol. This changes everything because duels were usually fought with swords. Pulling a gun makes the fight more dangerous. Spencer is forced to defend himself. In the struggle, Arthur is attacked and falls into the ocean. This creates legal trouble because the ship is sailing under British authority. Ship authorities intervene. Because the ship flies under a British flag, Spencer can be punished under British law. Authorities question whether his marriage to Alexandra is legally valid because it was performed by a ship captain in international waters. Political authority becomes stronger than personal love. Spencer is arrested and placed in the brig. He refuses to leave without Alexandra. Alexandra also faces punishment. She is ordered to stay in her quarters. She begs witnesses to tell the truth about the duel. One witness eventually confirms that Arthur pulled a weapon first. However, political power still forces separation. The emotional climax happens at the dock. Spencer and Alexandra run toward each other while crying. They promise to meet again in Bozeman, Montana. They express love even though they are being forced apart by law, social class, and authority. The scene ends with emotional music symbolizing love that continues even across distance. Overall, this story from 1923 shows that love, danger, history, and society are always connected. After love was tested by danger, social pressure, and violence, how will new challenges like technology, survival in nature, and changing ways of life shape what comes next? Let's take a closer look. Love, survival, machines, and the price of freedom. The scenes from 1923 continue to show stories about love, society, survival, technology, and moral choices. This show was created by Taylor Sheridan, who is known for making stories that move slowly and focus on emotion, history, and conflict between people and nature. In this part of the story, the focus is mainly on love, social pressure, new technology, danger from nature, and violence during travel. The story shows how people try to live their lives while dealing with fear, love, and changing times. Alexandra risks being rejected by her family and society because she chooses to marry Spencer. During this time in history, social reputation was very important, especially for women. Families often expected women to marry men of the same social class. But Alexandra does not follow these expectations. She chooses love instead of social approval. She wants to build her own family and future. Some people warn her that society in London may turn against her. However, Alexandra says she only cares about being happy with the life she chooses. Another important part of the story is how technology is changing life. Characters talk about electricity and new machines for homes. A salesman explains that electricity will be installed across large areas of land. He talks about new home machines like washing machines and refrigerators. The washing machine is shown as a machine that spins clothes inside a cylinder. Water and soap help remove dirt, while the machine moves the clothes around. The refrigerator is shown as a box with two sections. One section keeps food frozen, while the other keeps food cool so it does not spoil quickly. Some characters believe these machines will make life easier. They say people will have more free time because they will not have to wash clothes by hand or store food in old ways. The salesman explains that people can use their free time to rest, go to movies, swim, or enjoy picnics. However, other characters disagree. They say that people may have to work more to pay for these machines. One character asks what people will do if machines keep replacing human work. This part of the story shows early worries about modernization and the cost of new technology. Some people believe technology will bring comfort, while others believe it will bring more work and financial pressure. The story also shows danger from nature and adventure lifestyle choices. Spencer and Alexandra travel through dangerous areas where wild animals live. The characters talk about lions and elephants. Spencer is known as a famous hunter and war hero. People know him because of stories about him attacking dangerous animals. However, Spencer does not like to make hunting sound romantic or exciting. He says attacking animals is not romantic, but he also says he hunts because facing danger makes him feel truly alive. This shows that Spencer connects danger with emotional meaning. He believes survival experiences make life feel stronger and more real. Alexandra is attracted to Spencer's adventurous lifestyle, but she also feels fear. She jokes that if Spencer ever needs to warn her about danger, he should just shout "lion" instead of saying her long name. This shows humor and growing comfort between them. They enjoy teasing each other while also talking seriously about life and death. Alexandra sometimes worries because Spencer's life is very dangerous. She does not want to live in constant fear. Spencer understands this but still chooses his lifestyle. Violence becomes a major part of the story during travel scenes. Suddenly, gunfire breaks out while characters are traveling. Characters shout for others to get out of the wagon quickly. They tell people to stay low and protect themselves. Guns continue firing from different directions. Horses run while people try to escape the shooting. These scenes show that danger can appear without warning. The story does not show violence as exciting. Instead, it shows violence as frightening and chaotic. The story also talks about justice, punishment, and moral choices. In one scene, a character chooses to surrender to law enforcement. He asks to be taken to the nearest sheriff so he can face punishment. Another character talks about heaven and moral judgment. This shows that people in the story think about religion when making decisions about violence. Some characters believe they can still keep their spiritual dignity even when facing punishment. Overall, this part of 1923 shows how love, technology, survival, and violence all mix together. The story moves slowly and focuses on emotional meaning. It shows how people try to survive in a changing world. Love is shown as strong but difficult. Technology is shown as helpful but expensive. Adventure is exciting but dangerous. Violence is shown as something that brings fear and consequences. After love, social pressure, and emotional loyalty, we're tested by danger and separation. How will new challenges like violence, honor conflicts, and the search for justice shape what happens next? Let's find out. Danger, honor, justice, and the price of survival. The scenes from 1923 continue to show stories about danger, survival, honor, law, and emotional loyalty. In this part of the story, the focus is mainly on violence against vulnerable people, honor fights between men, legal punishment, and loyalty in relationships. The story shows how people survive in a world filled with fear, social pressure, and power struggles. One important part of the story is about violence against a young girl who is being hunted because she broke a law. The law is not clearly explained. People with guns search for her across open land and wild areas. During the search, she is attacked and beaten during a violent fight. She feels fear and tries to survive. The girl fights back because she must protect herself. This scene shows how weak people can sometimes be forced to defend themselves when they are in danger. It also shows how violence was common during hard historical times. The story does not show violence as exciting. Instead, it shows violence as scary, painful, and dangerous. The story then focuses on Spencer Dutton's reputation. Spencer is known as a strong fighter and a skilled hunter. People talk about stories of him fighting dangerous animals and surviving war situations. However, Spencer does not like to make violence sound romantic or exciting. He says he does not believe violence is something to admire, but he also explains that he hunts because facing danger makes him feel truly alive. This shows that Spencer connects survival with emotional meaning. He believes life feels stronger when he faces dangerous situations. Another important part of the story is the honor fight between Spencer and a man named Arthur. Arthur feels that Spencer has damaged his honor. During this time in history, honor was very important, especially for men. Some men believed they must fight to protect their reputation. Arthur challenges Spencer to a duel. Spencer does not want to fight, but he feels he must defend himself. The fight takes place on a ship, which makes the situation more complicated because laws must also be followed. During the fight, Arthur refuses to stop even when Spencer tries to avoid violence. Spencer tries to walk away, but Arthur continues to push for violence. Then Arthur pulls out a gun. This is very dangerous because duels were usually fought with swords, not guns. Pulling a gun changes the fight into a life or death situation. Spencer must defend himself to survive. The fight ends when Arthur is assassinated and falls into the ocean. This event creates emotional pain and legal problems for everyone involved. After the fight, law authorities become involved. Duels were illegal on ships because they could endanger passengers. Spencer is arrested and taken to a holding room called the brig. Ship authorities represent government and legal power. They try to find out what really happened. They ask witnesses to speak. However, truth is sometimes difficult because social power can influence what people say. Alexandra, Spencer's wife, also faces social punishment. She tries to defend Spencer by telling authorities the truth. One witness later confirms that Arthur was the one who pulled a weapon first. This supports Spencer's claim that he was acting in self-defense. But even with this truth, Spencer and Alexandra are still separated because of political and social power. This shows that sometimes truth is not enough to change decisions made by powerful authorities. Love and loyalty are very important themes in this story. What do you think about the forbidden scenes of Yellowstone? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for joining us as we explored the world of danger, honor, justice, and survival in this story. If this deep dive helped you understand the emotional struggles, violent conflicts, and powerful choices made by the characters, don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video on your screen to continue discovering more stories. See you there.